Welcome to Overflow High School Live. We are so glad to have you guys joining us online tonight. And we missed last week, but we're back this week with another segment, another show. And this is episode 13.
Oh, wow.
Can you guys believe that? Episode 13.
That's crazy.
So we have a couple of special guests. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Well, I'm Roman Morris, and today I'm representing CTCS.
There you go.
First is...
Nate Bowers from Providence Preparatory School.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm ready.
And of course we have Megan over here on the show as
Hi.
well. And anyway, so funny story, everyone at home. We came in here a while ago, and there was this huge fat cockroach sitting right here on this table. And so we made short work of him. He's out of here. I think what's happening is the building hasn't had people in here in like months. So cockroaches are like, hey,
It's their new home.
this is our place now. This place belongs to us. So not sure if that's happening or not. But so anyway, if you want to talk about the Battle of the Schools real quick,
Sure.
Megan?
So we have this fun thing we're doing this summer that we announced last time, and it is called the Battle of the Schools. So check out this bracket. It's going to be really awesome. So last time we had a student from Temple and a student from Belton compete in a game, and it looked like Temple just crushed Belton. That's
a good soccer
That
score
looks
right there.
pretty bad, yeah. So Temple is going on to the next round. So today we have Providence and CTCS, and they're going to battle it out today. And then we'll just move along in the brackets. And the winner, for whatever school wins, they'll get a gathering event, not a party, but it'll be social distance, and it will be fun. So you got to root for your school because it's going to be awesome. The winner will get to have a really fun event together.
Yes. So we're going to do a quick drawing, because what we also do for these games, we like to do a drawing, and we like to assign a name of a student to these students up here. So really, it's like a double competition. If they win the game, they win on your behalf if your name is drawn, but they also win for their school. So let's see.
Ooh, pressure. All right, first one is John Cheney. So
All right.
Nate, you get to play for John. And the other name is Alex Flory. So you get to play for Alex.
We finally got two guys. We've drawn a lot of girl names lately. So anyway.
I know, right?
All right, awesome. So we'll get to that in a moment. We're going to do the game at the end of the show. But for right now, we're going to cover some announcements.
Announcements!
Rubbish! And so the main things we want to talk about real quick for announcements is, did I say that word again?
Oh, announcements!
Rubbish!
We are not paying attention.
But the main things coming up, of course, we have our impact plans are coming along, and our plan is to do a live stream show in late July, but also with some pre-recorded elements mixed in. So we're going to have camp June 13th to the 16th, and the clubs will be online July 20th to the 23rd. And so all the students involved in that, of course, you know who you are by now. And you guys have your information, start working on your stuff, memorizing your things. We are assigning some skit captains so they can begin contacting those that are on the skit teams for our morning club, evening clubs, and begin working on some of those things. And really, we're going to draw you guys together during camp week and let you guys hammer out some of those details. And then also do the pre-recordings during camp week for things like gospel stories or gospel presentations, Bible stories, and also some of the skits. And then also train those that will be doing the live elements on how to do those things. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And some of the things we're doing on this show, like drawing out names and assigning names people on the show to play games, we'll do some of those kind of things with some of the kids that are watching at home, drawing their names out and assigning those to people on the stage to play games kind of on their behalf. So a way for us to interact with these kids during the week of Impact Club. So that's going to be a lot of fun too. And really everything else, guys, we're encouraging our small group leaders to be pursuing the grades that they're with and be planning some social events that are more outside where you guys can social distance and those kinds of things. So they have a long list of ideas that they're working from. And so that can begin happening. And listen, we know cases are on the uptick in our area, so we do ask you guys to be really, really careful. And we also understand that some parents are just not okay with their kids going out in these events right now, which is totally fine. But for those that are, we try to make sure that everyone's socially distant and we're doing it the right way to keep these cases down with us. So that's pretty much all I've got. And now we're going to get into a message from Colossians with Megan.
All right, so last video, we started the book of Colossians. And so right before what we're going to read, at the very beginning of the book, Paul lays out his hope and his prayer for believers, just that they would continue to grow in wisdom and patience with joy, and most of all, give thanks to God for saving them and bringing them into this kingdom of his Son. That his Son, Jesus, is through him that we have redemption, we're forgiven. So if we are saved by Jesus and now we're in his kingdom and his family, then we need to know, who is Jesus? Who are we putting our faith in? And so Paul goes on to explain the superiority of Jesus and the significance of who he is. And so in Colossians 1, verse 15, there's just this list of these descriptions of Jesus. And personally, in my quiet times, anytime there's a list of something, I like to list it out myself, and it just helps. And I really encourage that too for you guys. So in verse 15 it says, he is the image of invisible God, firstborn of all creation. By him all things were created in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. All things were created through him and for him. He is before all things. In him all things hold together. Head of the body, the church. He is the head. He is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead. In everything he might be preeminent. So I like that he calls Jesus preeminent, because preeminent means superior. So if he's going to be all these things, then he is superior in all. But how can this be? Well, Paul explains in the next verse, verse 19. He says, for in him all the fullness of God was pleased to dwell, and through him to reconcile to himself all things, whether on earth or in heaven, making peace by the blood of his cross. So he's fully God. That's how he is preeminent. He may also have come down and been fully human. He came down to live an example for us so that he could relate to us and relate to our sufferings. But at the same time, he was also fully God. So this passage is actually really great for laying out the gospel to someone, because Paul is making his case as he progresses along. He's saying Jesus is the head of all things, and that's because he is fully God. And because of that, he is able to reconcile all things to himself by the blood on the cross. And then immediately he explains why he would even need to reconcile us to himself. In verse 21, he says, and you who were once alienated and hostile in mind, doing evil deeds, he has now reconciled in his body of flesh by his death, in order to present you holy and blameless and above reproach before him. So there's the gospel picture for you. We see this characteristic of Christ that shows his authority and his superiority only because he is fully God, and making it clear that he is the only one qualified to redeem us and bring us into the kingdom of God. Now, these are some pretty big claims that Paul is making that the Colossians probably had a hard time hearing, but also for our culture as well, it doesn't always sit well. The exclusivity of Jesus. Because if you notice, he used the word all a lot. He is above all, head of all, creator of all. He reconciles all to himself. So he's claiming that Jesus is the most important. And Jesus himself claims that he is God. And also in the book of John, he says, before Abraham was, I am. Well, that was blasphemy to the Jews, because he was basically saying that before Abraham even existed, Jesus existed, and he personally knew Abraham, even though technically Abraham was on earth hundreds of years before Jesus came on earth. And then John 14, it says, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So he is saying he is the only way. So let me ask you guys, why do you think people would have a hard time agreeing with these statements about Jesus, his superiority, and that he is the only way?
I think it would really frustrate people, because when you think about what the passage says, he's above all things and he holds it all together. And I think people would like to think, maybe not like for everything in the whole universe, but in their own life, that they're the one holding it together, and like they've got everything that they need and they're in control of their own life. Whereas the passage shows that it's not that way, and that Jesus is the one that's in control of your life. And so it'd be frustrating for them to admit that and to believe that.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. And in our culture, I think we get a lot of messages that say that no religion has the right or the ability to make exclusive claims. In other words, who are we to demand that we have the one and only true religion? And that makes it really hard when you're trying to share the gospel, or much less just live out your faith. And a lot of people will say that either all religions lead to heaven, or all religions have a part of the truth but not the whole truth. But these ideas cannot line up with Christianity and what Christ claims. And it goes against the essence of our faith. Because if they do all lead to heaven, then Jesus isn't one of those ways. Because he very clearly says he is the only way, and God clearly says he is the one and only God, and we are to worship him alone. And if you consider other religions, some religions have thousands of gods that they worship. And none of them believe that Jesus is God. And then all religions, except Christianity, they follow and obey in hopes that they'll be accepted and get into heaven, whereas we were accepted by Jesus first, and then from that acceptance, we follow and obey. So Jesus either is the only way, or he isn't a way. But imagine with me that, say you got cancer, and you went to a doctor's office. And say that the doctor knew the cure. He knew exactly the treatment that you needed that would cure you, get rid of the cancer, and you would live. So he has two options. He can either tell you the one cure and say, this is what you have to do and you will live. Or he could give you lots of options and say, you can pick one, you do you, I don't want to pressure you, you pick what you want, but maybe one of them will work. Well, I mean, if you have cancer, wouldn't you want the doctor to tell you the cure? Wouldn't you want him to tell you the thing that will work? And fortunately for us, we know the cure. We know the way because Jesus has made it clear that he's the only way. And he proved everything by rising from the dead, which no one else on earth has raised themselves from the dead. So for me, it's almost comforting knowing that Jesus has made it so clear. And it's also comforting for me to be reminded just how far Jesus' power spans. In verse 17, it said that he is before all things, and in him all things hold together. So especially when we're living in such crazy and hard times right now, Jesus' power is sometimes something that I can easily forget. But what do you think it means that he holds all things together?
Well, one of the ways I've heard this particular verse talked about is like the verse before that just talked about how everything was created. Jesus himself was involved in creation, right? So, but in one sense, it's like creation doesn't stop, when he first created. Even our bodies, I've heard people talk about this, like even our bodies, you're constantly shedding off dead cells and regenerating new cells. And so at a molecular and cellular level, I can't talk today, Jesus or God himself is literally holding you together in a real sense, and so especially for you guys that are in school and studying these kinds of things, like we're actually out of that environment. We're not thinking about that anymore, but when I put myself back in those classrooms and just being so blown away at like how an atom or a molecule, like what is holding that together? That's just a powerful concept. And so I've heard this actually taught in a way where, in a real scientific way, where you say, look, scientists can't figure out what's causing that or what's creating that situation. And so in one sense you can say, well, I mean, Jesus himself is involved in creation. He's also involved in literally holding us together at that level. But then also, I just saw this a few minutes ago. In verse 18 it says, and he is the head of the body, the church. And I just thought about, could verse 17 also tie into verse 18, where in a sense, not just physically but also spiritually, he's holding the church together. He's holding, the church should converge in him as we unify under him, as he is our head and we are the body. So I think of that in a literal body sense, it's true that he holds us together, but also in a spiritual body sense, the church, he's also the one holding us together, I think. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's hard for me to remember sometimes that Jesus is in control, because it feels like, especially right now, sometimes it feels like Jesus has left the scene. But remember, I mean, even thinking about what Dave said, in the little and the big things, Jesus is in control of it all, and he's caring for all, and he knows everything that's happening, and he sustains us. He takes care of us because he created us. So it's important for us to remember this because oftentimes when we're not allowing him to be the center of our life or be in control, and that's when things kind of tend to fall apart. Have you ever had those times when you feel like you're just juggling all of these things? You have so many things you're in control of. You've got your job, you've got your school, you've got friendships that are fun, but friendships that are also hard. You've got your family, you've got your dog or your fish. You've got so many things that you feel like you're taking care of, that you feel like you have to be perfect, that you have to take care of all on your own. When things just get overwhelming and they fall apart, sometimes we just need to let God be God and let him do the work in our lives. He is the sustainer, and looking at this list, clearly he is capable of taking care of all things, big or small. So my last question for you guys is, as Jesus is the sustainer, how should this knowledge and everything we talked about today change the way that we view both Jesus and the universe we live in?
Well, with the passage, ultimately it says that Jesus is God. And God is in complete control. Like Dave said, even on a molecular atomic level, God is in complete control, holding everything together, even in a spiritual manner, like between relationships, between even like organizations like the church. God is in complete control. And he wants to have a relationship with us. He's perfect. He is everything. He is. And he wants a relationship with us, people who can't even like do simple things. He wants a relationship with us, and he's shaped the world in the way that he wanted, in every little detail. For instance, like Picasso, you could see his style of like painting and the certain brush strokes and the way that he did it. You can see that in the clouds, just from like the molecules of water just floating up there. Psalms 19, 1-3 says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the sky proclaims his handiwork. Day to day pours out speech, and night to night reveals knowledge. There's no speech, nor are there words whose voice is not heard. God is heard and seen in all things." And that's how we should view the universe, as he created it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's great. Well, I'm going to pray for us, and then we will move on. Heavenly Father, thank you so much just for being the creator, the sustainer, for being all of these things for us. Lord, and that it can only be you. I pray that even when we meet with obstacles, when people don't understand this, or when we have a hard time remembering you've got it all in your hands, Lord, I just pray that we can look up to you, and that you would be our reminder and help us persevere, Lord. I ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Great job, Megan. We love having students on the show, especially involving you guys in discussion. This is like a two-person small group right here on the stage, so we love having you guys here. And now we get to play a little game, and this is the part where all the pressure's on. You guys ready?
Awesome.
You're going for your school.
Yeah.
You're going for, which one's which again? John Chaney and
Alex Flory.
Alex Flory. All right, so here we go. So this is a game called What's Behind the Mask? And we know everyone is having to wear a mask, or for the most part right now. And so we're going to show you guys a little picture here, and you're going to have to guess the answer. So this one, I think, is Taylor Swift. And so remove the mask, and what kind of expression does Taylor have? A smile, frown, or is she straight-faced? Nate, what do you say?
Like if you listen to the music, it's not super happy all the time, so I'm going to say she's frowning.
You think she's frowning?
Just made a whole bunch of people mad.
Like she's thinking of a new song, and so she's frowning.
She's frowning. She's not happy at some dude.
Gotcha.
She got dumped.
No, it looks like she's out at a public, some sort of like public event. So I think that she's either straight-faced or smiling. So I think I have to go with smiling.
Smiling? All right, here we go.
Oh,
she's straight-faced. So both of you guys got that wrong. All right, so we have like a whole bunch of slides, so you can redeem yourselves. All right, next one. Pop star or actress? Who is the person behind this mask? Is it Katy Perry or that girl's name, whatever how you pronounce that? I know her name, I just can't really pronounce it. Go ahead and say it, Megan.
Zoe Deschanel.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
I guess the second one. I'm not super sure who either of these people are, but I mean, I've heard. I don't know. The
Not a
second
bad
one.
thing. It's not a bad
So really, it's a coin flip for you. So you
Yeah,
said it was
it's
like
a coin
you said it was B.
I mean,
Roman.
like, I've heard.
I would have to say Katy Perry because I have no idea who Zoe.
So this is crazy. Like I actually know who both those are, and you guys are like younger than me. And well, Megan can pronounce the name, so she's
yeah,
like
I definitely.
she's way ahead of us. So let's see who it is.
That Zoe
still
Deschanel, in
don't
case
know.
y'all wondering.
Yes. Yeah, I'm like, which one's highlighted? Yes, that's her.
We got
All right,
They look
so
similar though.
you guys track your scores so you know how many you get right or wrong. And then next we have, everyone knows who this is.
Shirley.
Remove the mask where you will find, now we know why Megan picked this game, where you will
Yeah.
find Steph Curry's mouth guard, side of the mouth on his teeth, or no mouth guard at all. What do you think? Roman, you go first.
I have not a clue about basketball. I didn't even know that they wore mouth guards. So I'll have to say side of his mouth.
Side of the mouth. Put your mic a little closer to you. And then how about you, Nate?
I think it's a trick, maybe, because you always see him, like, after he shoots a three, he's running back, and he's got his mouth guard hanging out. So I think it's on his teeth.
You think it's on his teeth?
Yeah, I
All
think
right.
it's like a trick.
Let's find out.
It's a switch.
It is always on the side of his mouth. He's the only guy I
Okay,
know
you
that
knew
never
that.
actually wears his mouth guard. All right, let's go to the next one here. What type of piercing will you find under the mask? Lip, nose, or tongue? This is like a total coin flip. Roman, what do you think?
I'd
This is not a
say-
famous person, we don't think, so
I would say the most popular kind of piercing is a nose piercing, so I'll have to go with B.
nose. Nate,
I think nose.
you think nose?
Yeah.
All right. You both are
Yep.
correct. Good job. All right. What's the score right now? Who's got the most? How many have you gotten right?
I think we're tied.
You're
2-2.
tied?
I've got two.
All right, so if you tie at the end, we're gonna make you guys like duke it out on the stage here. Like we're gonna make you
Sounds
fight.
good to me.
All right.
Like,
Now we'll make you do
okay.
paper rock scissors.
We'll see.
All right. Next we have remove the mask and what is on the rock's face? Beard, clean, or is it a goatee? Nate, you go first.
Clean.
Clean.
I think it's clean. I've never seen him with a beard or anything.
Roman.
I was trying to figure out what the logo was because maybe I could get some insight, but I would have to say clean because I haven't seen him with a beard.
All right. Here we go. He's wearing a goatee.
Oh, man.
I thought he always does. He always have a goatee.
So
Is
he's
that just
never
my
had a
imagination?
beard before?
What's that?
I wouldn't know. He doesn't ever have a
I don't know.
beard.
I think he
I
always
don't
has a
know.
goatee. I can't really picture him without one, so I'm not sure. But anyway, next, what does Ed Sheeran have behind his mask? This is really odd.
Whoa.
Lipstick. Is it a clown nose, or is it a lollipop? How would you put that behind?
All
your face
weird
mask?
things.
Roman, you go first.
I'd have to say C because if he has a clown nose, then you'd be able to see it, and I doubt that he's wearing lipstick.
All right, so you say C. Nate.
I think C too. I think it makes the most sense, like Roman said.
All right. Oh man,
What?
Oh.
That's crazy.
it's a clown nose.
That's crazy.
So I can't tell though. Is that like superimposed or is that like real? Is that a real? That's a real deal, I think. So, all right, next. All right, looking at emojis. So what's the emotion behind the mask on this emoji? Is it sad, indifferent, or is it happy? Nate, what do you think, Nate?
I think that's the happy one.
You think it's a happy one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With the eyes.
So
are pretty
not
big
like
and happy.
Taylor Swift. You're saying
Not like Taylor Swift. Not sad. Happy.
I think that if it was indifferent, it'd have rounder eyes, so I'd have to say happy.
happy. All right,
Happy
here we
one.
go.
There we go.
It
Yay.
is. All right. So does that mean you pulled ahead now, Roman? Because you guys, I think, were tied
3?
Uh,
up to that point.
I have three. Yeah, we guess the same thing.
3 to
Man.
3.
Okay, so we're gonna have to figure this out. All right. What is the color of the macaroon that is about to be unmasked? Pink, yellow, or blue?
Have y'all ever eaten a macaroon?
I don't know.
I've
that I
always
have.
seen.
Are
I've
they
never
good?
actually. I don't think I've ever actually had one. Are they good?
I don't like them. I've
They're
only had
like-
one though. So.
They're like fancy cookies, like
Yeah.
French cookies. I'm not.
Huh? No, I've never had one.
Yeah, they're like Oreos for people that like French food, I guess. So Nate, you go first on this one.
I think blue because the mask is blue. I don't know.
All right.
Got a
Say
bluish
blue.
tint.
Bluish tint. Yeah.
I would say yellow for vanilla.
Okay.
Oh, that makes sense.
Here it is.
Oh,
It is
man.
pink. You guys haven't seen? That's like one of the standard colors, I think, for that kind
Yeah.
of cookie. All right, next.
Yes, sir.
Now we're mixing in
Aw.
some animals. So what are you going to see on the mug of this pug? Is its tongue out? is it smiling or is it snarling? Nate, what do you think?
I don't know. I think smile, because bugs are pretty happy, aren't they?
Yeah,
Kinda.
they can
Yeah.
be.
Pretty happy and
So you
cute.
say
Maybe, I
smile?
don't know. Yeah, I guess.
I would have to say tongue out because most like baby pugs have their tongues out.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
true.
they're like born that way, aren't they? They're just like always. It's like their tongue's like too big for because their mouth is
Yeah.
like.
Have you seen a pug skull? They
I
look
have
like
not.
monsters.
That sounds really
their
morbid.
Faces
Wait a
are all
minute.
scrunched up. Their teeth come out.
I know it's like they ran into a wall and they just got stuck that way. So, all right, let's see what it is. Their tongue is
Oh,
out. So that you're accurate, but it's not in the way that you actually described. So he's actually licking his nose. So, but you're right. Most of the time, their tongues are always out. What are you going to see on the mug of this llama? Is it puckering? You see its teeth, or is it smiling? Roman, you go first on this one.
I would have to say probably its teeth. Just
Teeth?
Yes, sir.
All right, Nate,
I'm going to go with pucker. I think it's puckering.
puckering. All right, here we go. I think
What
that's
is
some
that?
teeth.
Is that its teeth?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's teeth,
yeah.
right? Yeah. All right, which one of you guessed that one?
That's really weird.
That was Roman. All right. Was that the end? That's the end.
Who
All right,
won?
so who won?
CTCS.
CDCS
All right.
took down Providence. I'm so sorry, Nate.
Man.
But you know what?
It's all good.
You know what? It's you guys battled out
Excellent.
really well. So you guys did awesome.
You both tried so hard.
Yes.
You did good.
What was the final score though?
It was 6-4.
6
No,
to 4?
5
There
to
you
4.
go, man.
So really
Got it.
close. Really close.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the crushing defeat that happened last time.
Yeah,
but it
no,
was
that was
a
pretty
pretty
bad.
close down to the wire thing. So so that means which Flory? I always get the Flory brothers mixed up. It was Alex Flory, is that right?
Yes.
Alex Flory. That means you've won a gift
All
card,
right.
and that's really good news. And so you get to tell us where you want your gift card from. We'll text you about that. You can let us know. And then we're gonna do one quick draw here at the end, and we're gonna do a quick draw and see who else might win a gift card. This is just for fun. And
This person doesn't have to like fight for it. They just get.
Yeah, they just get a gift card.
Gentle Horaya.
all right.
Good.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to him. So, guys, congratulations to our winners. Congratulations to CTCS as they move on to the next round. And then next week we have, what are the schools next week? It's
Homeschool and Salado.
versus Salado,
Yeah.
which will be a lot of fun. So that's our show for the week, guys. We hope you enjoyed it. We will see you guys next week. Have a great week.